What's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's episode of the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast. Happy New Year! We're starting a fresh year. Sitting with me right here is the man who put Gorilla in gorilla position, Mike Caldwell. And joining us live is the one and only, the man who gave Bobby the brain, Rick Elzy. What's up, fellas?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing well.
I love the fact that you try to throw us off like a football bat every single time we start this thing. And we know nobody knows exactly what you're going to say.
Neither do I until right before I say it. It's one of those things.
Well, I mean, the times that he uses Jim Cornette with me, I mean, at least Cornette's alive, so the only real problem that I'm going to have is potentially a tennis racket attack or a cease and disorder. But now he's invoked Gorilla with you and Bobby with me, and those people can haunt us. So I don't need that kind of heat. Not from the afterlife.
Don't need that negativity in your life. Is that what you're telling me?
No. I deal with enough heat and drama. I don't need the afterlife coming after me.
That is no joke.
I will say that I don't think you have to worry about the afterlife. Instead, he's going to possess the internet trolls and send them after you.
No. Well, I can handle the internet trolls.
Well, it is a new year, fellas. It's 2025. 2024 was great for the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast. And it's thanks to you guys, thanks to everybody that's been a guest, thanks to all of our fans. And we're ready to rock out on 2025.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. So we're going to start off with our thank yous. Ross and the boys from Labor 12 for our intro, outro music. Track's called Head Rush. Album's called Monsters. They are working on album number 2. And you can check out everything about it. Labor12.com, laborxii.com. Want to say thank you to Joe and American Legacy for the Not Your Average merch. You might notice I'm not wearing Not Your Average Mark hat today. Got to clean it up a little bit. Been wearing it too much. It's a little dirty, so I'm Supermaning it. But we do have hats. We have beanies. We have skull caps. We're introducing shirts and bandanas and keychains, and it's going to be cool. So make sure you get all your Not Your Average merch. See, they can't even see the thing on it. What are you doing? There's a keychain right there. We got all sorts of good stuff coming up. So thanks to Joe and American Legacy. Want to say thank you to J-Rebs 3D Printing. This little piece of awesome right here. Specially made from my boy Cameron over at J-Rebs 3D Printing. If you want something like that, if you've got a logo, you've got some sort of something you want to make into a light box, check him out, jrebs3dprinting.com. Want to say thank you to Rick and TJ from heckyeahradio.com for hooking us up. If you happen to miss an episode of the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast, you can go to heckyeahradio.com, click on the Not Your Average Mark button and get the audio version. Blind Ambition Studios for all our awesome graphics. The WrestlingSociety.com. If you hit their website up, they have an area called the Podcast Room where you can find us as well. You gave me one last week.
Say IWF has you on the approved podcast list.
Yeah, because we rock. That's why. So big thank you to them as well. And thank you to the one that makes all this work every week, the one, the only, the guy. Big thanks to him for everything he does. And one of the things he did was create a very kick-ass website. If you haven't done it yet, go to notyouraverage.mark.com. Check out bios. Check out kind of a history of who we are. You can watch previous podcasts. You could go right now and click on Watch Live and watch this podcast right now. It's awesome website. He's done a great job with it. So check it out, notyouraverage.mark.com. Looking over at the chat, we've got Mike Petty in saying, I hope y'all have a good New Year's. Same to you, Mike, man. Welcome to 2025. I hope it's awesome for you. So, little change in the program. I'm going to throw this out here at first, and then I'll talk about it again later. Next Thursday, no podcast. You may be thinking to yourself, Wapo, what do you mean no podcast next Thursday? We're going to do something a little different, a little bigger. We're actually going to do a live watch-along Monday night for the very first ever Monday Night Raw on Netflix. So you'll be able to join us. We'll be podcasting right here, watching Netflix, watching Raw, watching what should be a PLE. But we're going to talk about that a little later in the show. Let's get into some main roster moments. We've got to watch the final 2-hour SmackDown on Friday night. As of next week, or as of tomorrow, as a matter of fact, SmackDown goes to 3 hours on the USA Network, which is good. I mean, there's a lot of talent on SmackDown, so 3 hours allows them to put a little more time into things, get a few more matches in, run a few more angles. So I'm okay with the 3 hours for SmackDown. What do you guys think?
It's kind of a toss up because you can either if it depends on how they want to go with it. If they decide to slow cook several different angles, it's going to be a good thing.
Mhm.
But if they start to try to just throw stuff on there because they have 3 hours to fill, then it's not going to be so great.
I get that. Rick, what do you think?
I don't have a problem with the 3 hours. I think 3 hours is pretty much where it comes to WWE. 3 hours is pretty much expected. And I'm okay with that. My problem is not going to be with WWE. My problem is going to be with the reactions of the idiots that watch it. And I know that all they've done is clamored for the 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours. But there was just a few years ago where all they did was gripe because it was 3 hours. Why does it have to be 3 hours? And now all of a sudden they flip their position. They want 3 hours. Well, they're about to get 3 hours on Monday and they're about to get 3 hours on Friday. So they've now gone from 5 hours over the last few years. Now, then we dropped down to 4 hours between two nights. Now we're going to 6 hours between two nights. And I'm just waiting for my countdown begins the moment SmackDown starts. And we'll see if we make it through the show without Twitter, somebody saying, this show's too long.
Oh no, it's not going to happen.
So,
Twitter's
you know,
absolutely gonna be saying things
you
like
you
that.
they can't win. So even though the company right now is probably putting out its best product in 15 years, but there's always another goalpost. We've always moved the goalpost a little further, so that's fine.
I'm looking over here at the chat, and Eska 1981. Alex, what's up, brother? He's saying more video packages, which I assume that's going to be part of it. You're going to get more video packages. You're going to get more setting up challenges, things like that. Mike Petty saying he agrees with you, Rick, in this, that it's going to be the internet trolls that are just.
My hope is that we're going to get more character development. My hope is that we'll have a few more people getting matches on shows. But if you want to be very honest about it, adding a third hour really just gives us about an additional 40 minutes because it's really another 20 minutes worth of commercials. So you're talking about an additional 40 minutes. And yeah, there's going to be some recapping of Raw on Netflix because even though SmackDown is a good show, and for a while on Fox, SmackDown was the #1 show. But now that Raw is moving to Netflix, they are back to being the A program, and there's going to be a huge chunk of SmackDown's 3 hours that's going to be dedicated to telling you how awesome Raw was.
Oh yeah.
So
we've got
we'll see.
We got J-Reb over in the chat saying change will always upset someone, good or bad. And
that's very true.
Correct. And
but if you're the one asking for the change, then you need to at least give the change a chance before you decide to completely flip on a dime and change your mind because you weren't gratified immediately.
Well, what fun is that? Well, one of the things we got on SmackDown this week, we got Nia Jax. So I really dug the fact that she gave this promo and gave the implication that Bianca Belair was the one responsible for Jade Cargill's attack. And, it's been thrown out there. People have thought it, maybe. I'm not going to lie. My first thought, and Rick, you and I have talked about this. My first thought was it was Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. and then
Me
maybe,
too.
maybe it comes out that they attacked Jade Cargill on the orders of Bianca Belair. So
Yeah.
it's cool to see that Nia Jax is throwing that out there, and the facial
Yeah.
expression from Naomi kind of makes me think, hey, what do you got to do with this? Just saying.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Well, I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, just because of how Naomi is acting towards this whole change now that she's half of the tag team champions and not Jade. You know, I definitely believe that she has something to do with this.
Oh yeah.
I think the best swerve they could do is reveal that Bianca and Naomi were in on it together.
Yeah, I think that would be a great swerve. It'd be a hell of a storyline. The thing that this does for me, though, the biggest thing it does is it frees up, once she gets her revenge, of course, it frees up Jade Cargill for Rhea Ripley or a returning Charlotte Flair, or it takes her away from the tag team and allows her to start moving forward in singles competition, which I'm looking forward to. Looking at the chat, Mike Petty, do y'all think they're going to do something between the bloodlines? I do very much believe they are. We're going to talk about that a little closer to the end of the show. But, oh, yeah, they're going to do something. I like the fact that we finally got to see it from Tiffany Stratton. I was pretty sure she was about to cash in. The whole crowd was losing their ever-loving minds. And Candice LeRae stops it. And normally this is where Tiffany Stratton says, I wasn't going to do nothing, but no, she put it out there straight as could be. I want to be champ.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This was a development.
It was, in fact, and it's one I don't mind. I will put up with hearing it's Tiffy time for something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was good. Theory and Waller, A-Town Down Under. I don't understand where we're going. Like, WWE spent all this time teasing the breakup between them, and then they're just like, never mind. Like, that's some Tony Khan shit.
I don't agree. I think they teased it. They got you wondering, and then they took it in another direction. But you can still see subtle things between the two of them, things that will be said that they raise eyebrows to. And I think that all we're waiting on is the one big moment where Grayson Waller absolutely throws Austin Theory under a bus. And I think that's where it's going to go bananas. I think that Grayson Waller versus Austin Theory is going to be one of the WrestleMania matches on one of the nights of WrestleMania.
Well, I will tell you that, like, Theory and Strowman, they had a chemistry I wasn't expecting. And it just made me realize how much more I want to see Austin Theory go back to being a singles competitor. I think that he and Grayson Waller have reached their ceiling as a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of them could far surpass that ceiling as singles competitors.
Yeah, I think that the split is imminent, but I don't. I think they pulled away from it a little bit so that they could not have it be so telegraphed.
I mean, I guess I could see that.
Triple H doesn't like to just throw things out right in your face. I mean, look at what they did with New Day. We all thought that it was going to be Xavier. We were all expecting Xavier, and then, oh my God, it's both of them.
Yep. Yeah, it was a hell of a swerve.
So, I mean, Triple H likes to play with it, but he wants to keep you on your toes.
Nope, that's very true. He's proven that time and time again. Chelsea Green, your new and longest reigning Women's U.S. Champion. I love the fact that they said that. Now, a little trivia on that. I believe, if I read it correctly, that actually started on Fightful Select. They
It
made a
did.
joke about
It
it,
did.
and the WWE took it and was like, "Yeah, we're doing this."
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're not wrong. She is the
Yeah.
longest reigning U.S. champion.
But
Women's
she's
US
also the
champion.
short training.
Yeah, they're not lying. They're not lying. She absolutely is the longest reigning women's US champion.
I'm so happy she got that belt. She is.
Yep.
There's nobody more deserving, in my opinion.
If
than
they
Chelsea.
put out a t-shirt that says red, white, and green, I'm gonna buy it.
Yep,
I want it.
marketing.
Yeah.
Street Profits. You know, they got into it with Los Garzas
Yep.
because Pretty Deadly decided to say, "Oh, we know who attacked you. It was Garza's," because Johnny Gargano had daggers in his eyes, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so I thought that was pretty funny that they had the switcheroo there because they
Mhm.
beat up.
Yeah.
We did of course get Apollo Crews come back later in the show and be like, "Look, it was DIY." Like we didn't
Yeah.
already all know that, but he's like, "I'm gonna tell you something. It was DIY." But so
Say
I
less.
want
say less.
I need both of you to join me in manifesting however we have to make it happen. I want we can use tarot cards, we can use bones, whatever we got to do. We need to manifest. I want to see Pretty Deadly the musical. I need to see it. They have teased it. They better deliver it. That needs to happen.
You know, honestly, I feel like it's going to. As much as
It
I'm
has to. It has to. It has to. And it has to air on WrestleMania weekend. It absolutely does.
call Paul Levesque. That still doesn't work.
We're sorry, you've reached a number that you don't have access to.
Yes, right. So the okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I need to see me some Pretty Deadly the musical. It's gonna be great.
They can even put our truth in it if they want to. I don't care. I just want to see it.
He's gonna say what's up at least once. I'm just saying.
That's okay. As long as if it's in Pretty Deadly the musical, I will approve it.
So Sammy versus Mello. This was a great match.
It was.
Enjoyed every bit of this. The chemistry here is great. They each had some moves that were awesome. You had Sammy with the moonsault off the barricade. You had Mello with the springboard crossbody. I just don't like that Strowman came out and that's how the match ended. But how else are you going to let the Temu Bloodline beat up Sammy?
Well, I mean, they definitely segued into a nice moment for, Solo's bloodline to get a modicum of revenge on Sammy. They kept the Carmelo Braun Strowman storyline going. I thought it was a nice little piece of business, and nobody can say, oh, they're burying Sammy or oh, they're burying Carmelo, so it's, to me, I thought it was perfectly fine. And, if I'm on the creative team, I'm making a pitch for Carmelo to have Omos show up as his backup. And I'd love to see Carmelo Hayes riding on the shoulders of Omos to come out to the ring because that'll be hilarious. And I'm all about it.
You're going to have Mello go all Jack Perry, are you?
Hell no, dude. Yes. Let's do that. Let's do that gimmick and actually make it fun and normal. Right. And not be Chaka from the Land of the Lost riding on the dinosaur guy. How about that?
His name is Luchasaurus.
His name is Dino Douche, is what his name is.
I can't say anything. I am bona fide Papasaurus, so this is a gift for my grandkids for Christmas. So, here's what I like about this particular segment. As somebody who's very into creative and into writing, I love any situation you can put it in where you're moving multiple storylines. Mm-hmm. If you can take one, what was it, maybe 6-7 minute segment, and you've moved all of these storylines, then you've done you've accomplished what you needed to accomplish, and didn't have to spend, you know, half hour doing it. And
No.
like some other shows I could name, but I'm not going to till later. Eska 1981 saying awesome shirt, appreciate that. Had to show off a little bit. My grandkids spoil me. I can't lie.
Yeah, it's not like it's not the other way around too.
Yeah,
so.
well, we wasn't gonna talk about that, but since you brought it up. No. So we got our final Raw on USA after 32 years. That's a long time. That's longer than any of my kids have been alive. That's 32 years is a long time. I like the way they started with the New Day and Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre and Jay. They make Dom look popular. They're not the New Day. They're now the EU Day. And they make Dom look popular. Like there, except for one spot. There was one spot where Xavier Woods almost got a whole sentence out and looked at the crowd, and then they started booing him again. It was funny. I liked it.
Did you see the clip from the holiday tour in Florida where they passed out coal to the crowd, to the kids?
Oh no.
No. They
Yeah.
did not.
Yeah, they did. They filmed a lot. They've been filming a lot of the house shows lately. They've been filming a lot of content at the house shows, which I'm very hopeful that ends up turning into Netflix having PLE type of events where they literally show house show footage. I would love to see that.
That would be cool.
But they did. They came out. It was on the Christmas tour, and they were handing out gifts to the fans in the front rows. And when the kids, specifically to kids, and when the kids opened them up, they were lumps of coal.
Oh, dirty. See, that's why.
And they said that was what those kids earned for the way that they had been treated. So,
well, of course, the New Day comes out, tries to get the crowd to get behind them. Jay comes out. They're like, Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Tell him something. And so Jay did. It says, when it comes to the New Day sucks, which just, flabbergasted Xavier Woods. But Jay's like, now that that's done, get out of here. Drew McIntyre, bring your ass. And
yeah.
So that response was quick. That response was precise, and that response was Solo Sikoa. Solo comes up on the screen and he starts talking trash to Jay, distracting him just enough to have a very angry Scotsman beat him up. So,
Solo and Drew working together. That's what we were teased last week.
It was.
Drew reached out and was like, hey, I'll take care of everybody else, so you just take care of Roman Reigns.
The whole segment was original. The opening segment, I dug it. I liked it. I thought it was great.
Yep.
Let's talk about something real quick. The fact of the last year that we've had the new booking system in WWE, we're actually acknowledging history.
Mm-hmm.
And all the little inner workings that people are like, nobody's going to remember that, pal. They're actually
pretty good, man.
They're actually going to go ahead and have people remember.
Nope.
And bring it up to people. And with the whole Drew and Solo thing, they actually say, okay, yeah, we have history. And we'll get to that at some point, but we got to get rid of these guys first.
Well, and speaking to that point, stop and think about it for just a second. The day Cody Rhodes brought Jey Uso back to Raw, who's the first person that was in his face? Drew McIntyre.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a circle back to that as well.
Yep.
So
they're no longer insulting our intelligence.
Which I love that.
No, I
absolutely love it.
I love it too. Otis is awesome. Can we just like throw that out there first? Otis is freaking great. I love him.
Otis
I
is
love
pretty
the
cool.
match. I love the match with him and Chad Gable.
Hmm.
There was only one thing that I really didn't care for, and that was the fact that he had that ankle lock put on him for a whole minute and a half, and then as soon as it got broke, he started running around the ring instead of he didn't limp, he no sold it, he supermaned it.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate that. I didn't like that part.
And I'll go with you on that. I don't like it when that happens. The art of the sell is paramount in the wrestling industry. And so if you're in an ankle lock like that and you don't sell it, there has to be a reason it wasn't sold. And those reasons died in the 90s.
Well, I will say, I know we're going to get to it here in a little while anyway, but Io Sky ended up making up for what Otis did not.
Yes. You're right. We're going to get to that because damn. Of course, Rick's favorite part of the night, R-Truth being attacked by Pete Dunne. He said, "What's up?" once and then got beat down. Here's my concern with this entire segment, this whole Pete Dunne R-Truth thing. I need this to not be a thing. They can fight all the time. I don't care about that. What I need to not be a thing is 3 different times on his way back to the curtain, Pete Dunne said, "I'm nobody's Butch." Please don't let this be a thing. Don't let this be, you're a punk Butch. Don't let this.
It's already a thing. It's already a
need it-
thing.
I need
Every
it to
time
not be a
Truth
thing.
doesn't every time Truth does a segment backstage where he's talking to another wrestler, he uses Butch in place of bitch.
I know, but it needs to
He's
stop.
been doing it for 3 weeks now.
It needs to stop. Like,
Well, that's your boy who's perpetrating that. So
well, he can be.
that's your national treasure. That's your national treasure that's doing it.
You know what? Kennedy was a national treasure too, and he did bad things as well. So give me no
Well,
shit.
as soon as that music hit, I typed into the chat FML. And then 2 seconds later, Pete Dunne came in and I typed, "Thank you, Pete."
So after that, we got Dakota Kai and Zoe Stark. This was a lot better match than I was expecting. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, this was the best match of the night.
No, I disagree.
I
But it
do
is
not.
Very,
I love
very,
it.
very close second.
The girl, let's just put it this way to solve an argument. The girls killed it.
Yes, they did. See, for me, Io and Lyra was the match of the night.
I thought Io and Lyra was good, but the reason I thought that Zoe and Dakota was better was because I'm not invested in either one of those girls. And yet, by the end of that match, I was excited for Dakota's win. Whereas Io and Lyra, I like both of them, and I wasn't sure who would win. But at the end of the match, I was like, okay, cool. But I wasn't as excited as I was with Zoe and Dakota. They took a match that I honestly didn't really care about and made me love it.
Eska 1981 saying Dakota had a pretty good sell at the end, Triple H style, or not Dakota, but Zoe. And it was that kick from Dakota Kai and Zoe Stark just seeing stars for about 10 seconds. It was awesome. As a matter of fact, I think the chat you were talking about. I think I made mention of that.
Mm-hmm.
That was a killer sell.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And Mike's right. I mean, between those 2 matches, the girls ruled Monday night.
They did, absolutely. So the Judgment Day has new entrance music, which I like. I think it's good, but why now? Why not do that this summer whenever Priest and Rhea left?
I think that right now, Judgment Day is not the first act that I've seen in the last month that has had a new theme pop up out of nowhere. I've
Right.
seen it a lot lately. And I think honestly, the reason they're doing it is since they ended their contract with Def Rebel and now they have new in house music people, which I'm not sure exactly who they are. I think that basically what they're doing is they're just throwing things at the wall that sound cool and they're going to see if it sticks. And I think that they want to get rid of a lot of the Def Rebel stuff, just like they've had to get rid of a lot of the CFO stuff. And I think we're in a place where hearing a new theme every other week is going to be something we're just going to have to deal with for a while.
It definitely could be. I'm not gonna lie. I liked the old Judgment Day music.
I did too, and I'm not a huge fan of the hip hop stuff, honestly. I mean, I've always enjoyed more rock with my wrestling, but I understand the world and the culture we live in right now, and I get it that hip hop is kind of where it's at as far as the social media stuff, and it's very very popular. So I get why they're doing it, but I liked the Judgment Day theme before just fine.
Same. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Honestly, I thought that Priest should have been the one to get the new music instead of the Judgment Day. I think the Judgment Day had something good with what he had, but now we have Damian Priest who still is holding on to some of the Judgment Day uh,
Well,
ambiance.
not as much because like the music he came out to is his. It is his, and by his I mean the lyrics and everything are done by him. So like it's his music,
Just
but
the
it
whole
does
All
have the
Rise
feel.
and the
Yeah,
everything else. It's still Judgment Day ish.
yes, I get that. Wade Barrett pulling a sneaky, and I liked it a lot. The War Raiders come out, and the first thing he yells is "Raw is war," which to most people that he's thinking, okay, he said that because the War Raiders are coming. To me, the first thing that I thought was this is the very last Raw, and it's referencing the very first.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It's a nice callback. It's fun. I love Wade. I think Wade's great.
Wade's good dude. I like him. I thought this match was exactly what it needed to be. I enjoyed the match itself. Anytime Dom gets thrown around like a rag doll, I'm good. So when Damian Priest does it, it's even better. So I did enjoy that match, which brought us to what I consider the match of the night: Lyra Valkyria versus Io Sky. Both ladies had the moments in where the pin it looked like a done deal, where you're like, oh, it's over. Oh wait, no, it's not over. And by the end, they were both gassed, and I love that.
Yeah.
There's a level of work here in the women's division. There's a level of work here that you don't see in a lot of the rest of the women's division, and in the men's division for that matter. My big thing is that I'm glad that Lyra won.
I am too.
I do love Io. Io Sky is a great competitor, but I really feel like for this initial win, like the very first winner of the women's IC title, it needs to be somebody who hasn't won a world title.
I completely agree with you. My thoughts exactly.
I guess we're unanimous in that because I'm on that same page as well. I like the fact that we have for a mid card championship we have people that fit the bill.
Yeah.
And here's the deal with it all though. These girls are stepping up.
Oh, 100%.
These girls are stepping up, and and I believe it. If they were to say, you know, we're telling all these guys, you better either step up with us, or we're going to leave you in the dust.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they very well may. I mean, the women's division is cooking right now.
But
wait, can I say that? That sounds bad. Women cooking.
That they're cooking?
Yelled at.
Yeah.
They're doing well.
I have never been more in the camp of I want to see WWE produce not only an all women's PLE. Again, I want to see them produce an all women's show.
Mhm.
I think you've got plenty of room for it on Netflix. I need to see something regular that just showcases the women because they have so many capable women. They now have 5 championships dedicated to the women on the main roster. There is absolutely zero reason why they can't not only have their own PLE, I think they should have their own show.
I agree 100%. I got to say, Raw, SmackDown, all of it was good. A+ stuff. Dug it, loved
Yeah.
it. Before we get into our next segment, I do want to say for everybody watching, everybody listening, if you haven't done it yet, go through, click the likes, click the subscribes, click the bells, click all the things.
Click the
All
share.
the things.
Yes, click the shares.
Share this. If you're on
Yes.
Facebook right now, there's a little button over there on the right-hand side. It says share. Go ahead and share it. Maybe
Yep.
we can pick up. Maybe we can pick up 5 or 10 more people. We need
Yep.
more. We need more subscribers because we need more violence put upon this guy that's going to be
Whoa,
filmed.
Whoa. Yeah, that does happen. You're right. Yeah, from what I understand, there's been a volunteer as of late that should we happen to hit our next goal, apparently Phoenix wants to put some sort of hurt on me, and I'm scared now. But
You should be.
But yeah,
I've had a hurt put on me by Phoenix. You should be scared.
I am just a little bit wearing my brown pants.
I'm not scared. I'm
Say
not
what?
scared.
You're
I'm
not
not
scared?
scared.
You're not scared
Yeah,
about
no.
me getting hurt? Yeah, I did.
He's all in
No,
for
I'm
it.
not. I'm not scared of Phoenix.
I am. I'm a little
He
scared.
he actually likes me. So
Fair.
Well, once
I don't
upon
have
a
to worry
time,
about
he
it.
actually liked me too. So.
But as I said, go through, click all the things. Click the likes, the shares, the bells, the subscribes, all of it. Click it all. We've got right there in the chat, JRebs 3D Printing says got it shared on Facebook. Cameron, thank you
very
so much.
Awesome.
One thing I do want to bring up is going into the new year, we've started something. With West Texas Independent Wrestling, we've started something. If you're in the Lubbock area, if you're in Lubbock and the surrounding counties, and you're sitting at home on Tuesday night and you say, I'm going to watch NXT, guess what? You're going to see a commercial for BCW Pro Wrestling. You're going to see a commercial for Squared Circle Pro. We are getting out there.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna see a commercial for Lubbock Pro
That's
Wrestling
right. You're going to
101.
see a commercial for Lubbock Pro Wrestling 101. There's starting to be a footprint, and you guys help us with that. And I just want to say thank you for that. If you see it and you like it, if you see it online, share it, because we're starting to get a footprint, and I'm loving it. Speaking of footprints, let's get into a big footprint, maybe a clown-sized footprint, as we do notes from the clown show.
Can I start off with a positive?
Do they have those?
Yes, they do.
Okay, start off with positive. What do you got?
Rampage is done.
Yes, it is. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Rampage is gone. Like, you use that as a positive, but I am going to give an actual positive about that. And you won't hear this from me very often, but kudos to John Moxley on this, because I am 100% sure that he's the one that came up with this. But saying that he's tired of this and we're not doing it anymore and just pulling the plug to end the show, genius. I liked it. I loved it. I thought it was great.
It was
Like
pretty inventive. It's
It,
pretty good.
it was good, and there's no way in hell Tony Khan came up with that.
Yeah.
Well, the final Rampage, I believe somebody said it was like 275,000 was the final viewership.
Well, I'm telling you now, that particular piece, there's no way in hell Tony Khan came up with that. Do you know why? Because Tony Khan is a clown.
I could have told you that.
You could have told me that. So let's talk about some notes from the clown show. This was dubbed Dynamite. This week was dubbed the mother of all simulcasts because it was on TNT and it was on Max. So it's the mother of all simulcasts. And how do you start the mother of all simulcasts? With the Pointer singer or Pointer sisters singing "I'm So Excited," which immediately takes us back to Jesse and Zach and the danger of caffeine pills and I'm so excited. No, what the hell?
Okay, that song is as old as we are.
Older, thank you. Let the gray beard.
I
Pointer
remember.
kids.
I can look. I have no problem. I have no problem putting my age out there. I remember watching that video debut on MTV. So
Eska
Yeah.
1981 saying Pointer Sister screams wrestling.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
I mean, if you're gonna do the Pointer Sisters, can we at least have like Neutron Dance or something cool?
No, we're gonna do "I'm So Excited." And Tony Khan in the back going, "I'm so scared."
Well, he also re-upped the license for Elton John's "Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting" for Collision, which will show up, I guess, this week. Because
I'm
here's
look, Elton John. Elton John's got some good music, but
Tony Khan. Look, he's only doing this stuff because he knows WWE shies away from licensing music.
Yes.
But you got to license something that actually fits your product and your demographic. I mean, if you're going for the unwashed, ignorant Twitter doofuses that love your product, I absolutely guarantee you none of them are listening to the Pointer Sisters or Elton John. It's not happening.
They're not. But that's how we started the mother of all simulcasts. And so what do we get on the mother of all simulcasts? We get rated FTR and not Edge, not Adam Copeland. No. We get Cope. There's only one way this works for me, and I've told both of you already, and I'm going to tell everybody that's watching and listening. There's only one way I'm okay with Adam Copeland being called Cope, and that's if they add Colt Cabana to the stable, so you have FTR and Copacabana.
I'm here for it.
Okay, I think that's amazing, and I would like to also manifest that to happen along with Pretty Deadly the musical. But I will say that Adam Copeland changing his name to Cope is absolutely one of those things where art imitates life. Because now, officially, as if it already wasn't, but now it officially, AEW is the exclusive home of Cope.
Of Cope, yep.
Because that's all AEW sickos do all day online is Cope. That's it.
Yes. And they don't do it well.
We get a gold star for Rick.
Yes, Rick gets a
So
gold star.
sad.
Kenny's back. Kenny Omega has returned, kind of. He was there. He was standing. For those of you that don't know, Kenny Omega nearly died last year.
Yeah, diverticulitis.
Yes, it was, all joking aside about the clown show, I'm glad to see Kenny back. I'm glad to see Kenny in a position where he can continue to do the sport that he loves.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, if he gets in the ring with Okada and Okada hurts him or puts him out in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and I don't get somebody saying, "You killed Kenny, you bastard," I'm going to be mad. Like, that's a missed opportunity.
For some reason, I so see the Young Bucks doing that.
See, it's comedy gold, man. I'm doing their job for them and doing it better than they do. Jeff Jarrett. What the hell? Jeff Jarrett comes to the ring. I give him this. He left his walker behind.
Oh, come on, dude.
And he makes it to the ring, gets in there, he's got boots over his shoulder. You know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
He forgot to put them on. The memory is the first thing to go. Jeff Jarrett gets in the ring. He's got his boots on his shoulder. He starts talking about retirement. And you know what? I'll give him this. It was if he had stuck to it and went on with what he was saying, it would have been a good segment, a good thank you, Jeff segment. But no, Jeff Jarrett says, should I retire? Hell no, I'm not going to retire. I'm going for the gold. What? If he's not talking about a golden can of Ensure, he's out of his mind. He's not going to make it to a belt.
Jeff Jarrett is the most capable actual wrestler worker in the company, and I don't care what they do with him as long as he's in the ring. I know that what I'm watching is going to be salvageable, so I'm okay with it. I don't really care about their title scene anyway, and anything's got to be better than Mox. So, whatever. To me, okay, that's fine. Jeff should be the one booking the show anyway.
I've said that from the jump, that if they just give the book to Jeff Jarrett for a little while and see how much better it does.
Well, yeah, Jeff Jarrett is, granted, he is probably the best mind that they have over there, minus MVP.
Yes.
Because MVP knows his shit too.
Yes, he does.
But Jeff Jarrett that's where he needs to be, is behind the scenes.
Yes.
I love him to death. He's one of my favorites. He's been one of my favorites since he was the long blonde hair and doing the strut and everything else. You know,
JEFF.
1993 Jeff Jarrett.
Mm-hmm. Now we have Jeff Jarrett that needs to be behind the camera, be part of production, and they need to get production done before 6 o'clock because that's bedtime.
I've loved Jeff Jarrett since 1989. Simply irresistible Jeff Jarrett in world-class championship wrestling.
I talk a lot of shit about Jeff Jarrett being old, but my concern here is that they're going to do what they do. Well, Jeff Jarrett wants to go for the gold, so let's have a match where we take the belt off of Moxley and give it to Darby Allin, and then put Darby Allin and Jeff Jarrett in a match.
Probably. They probably will.
Him the same way we retired Sting.
But at least if Jeff Jarrett and Darby Allin have a match, Jeff will keep Darby from doing something stupid.
But will he?
Yeah, he will, because Jeff doesn't put up with that crap.
You could say the same thing about Sting. Sting doesn't put up. Steve Borden's not one about that. But look what happened.
Sting is a people pleaser. Sting is a people pleaser. Sting will do anything that. I mean, come on. Sting's entire career has been about, okay, sure, what do you need me to do? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Sting, so.
If they're going to send out Jeff Jarrett, I just hope they do it correctly and before 6 o'clock so he's not in bed. Swerve Strickland. Stabbed in the head with scissors by Ricochet. I can make jokes
Golden scissors. Golden scissors.
Yes, golden scissors. I can make jokes about this all day. Swerve didn't. The scissors also didn't ricochet. They stuck pretty good. I can make jokes about this all day.
And this brings a brand new meaning to Scissor Me in AEW.
The thoughts and opinion of Mike Caldwell do not necessarily. No, just kidding.
That's another act that AEW just flushed down the toilet.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Acclaim.
All right. We got to talk about, if we're going to talk about Clown Show, this is the epitome of Clown Show. We got to talk about Rey Fenix for a minute. I am going to read verbatim a statement from King Clown himself, Tony Khan. Statement from AEW CEO Tony Khan. I want to address the recent claims made by Rey Fenix regarding the medical care and treatment he has received in AEW. I want to sincerely apologize to Rey for any misunderstanding or issues he has faced. The reality is that Ray does not speak English fluently, which has made it very challenging for us to properly communicate and understand his needs at times. For example, when Ray suffered an injury last year, I thought he was trying to tell me he was hungry. So I sent him something to eat or I sent him to get something to eat at a nearby restaurant instead of giving him immediate medical attention. I feel terrible about that situation and I take full responsibility. Senor, I broke my leg. Here's the sandwich. What?
Yes.
Tango blood. Here's some chips.
You want salsa with that?
You know?
Look, Tony, I know you're watching. Tony. Look at these eyes, okay? If you feel really sorry about it, go ahead and let the man out of his contract.
Amen.
Yep.
He's been asking for who knows how long. And then you added months to it. And then we just figure out that you did something stupid. And then now you're going to say, okay, well, you got to still sit at home and get paid for a little while longer. You know what? Let him out of his contract. Let him do what he needs to do. The man is perfectly capable of going somewhere and making something out of himself. So do it. Do it for all of us.
Further into this statement, this is an honest AEW statement.
Do it for your company's PR.
Yeah.
I want Ray to know
one of
that his health and well-being are our top priorities. We will redouble our efforts to ensure that he receives world-class medical care and support he deserves. I'm hopeful we can move forward in the spirit of mutual understanding and work together to create the best possible environment for our entire AEW roster. Tony Khan.
Okay, one more thing. This is not the first time that we've heard that Tony Khan has done something to not progress the healing of his people. Because if you'll remember correctly, somebody by the name of CM Punk ended up getting hurt.
Yep.
And had to go pay for his own rehab, his own surgeons, stuff like that, because Tony Khan didn't get on the ball and have his people get over there and give him the medical that he needed.
Well, I'm going to do the same thing you did. Tony, right here, pay attention. Look me in the eyeballs. Spend the $14.99 on the damn translator earbuds on TikTok shop so you don't give the man who's bleeding a sandwich. Jeez. What and I laugh about this and I make jokes about it, but this is real. Like this is not a made up thing. This is an actual statement put out by Tony Khan on December 11th.
It's the difference between writing down a fantasy booking on a message board and actually running a company.
Yeah. And he can't do either. You know why? Because Tony Khan is a clown. And that was Notes from the Clown Show. All right. So we talked about it earlier. 32 years of Monday Night Raw on the USA Network. So I want to take just a couple of moments here to kind of talk about some of the big moments. In 32 years, there's been several, but what are some of the moments that stick out to you? I'll start. The Austin Tyson thing. Austin getting in Tyson's face. You got your eyes locked on the eyes of the world's toughest son of a bitch. Like that whole thing was, as Rick pointed out to me the other day, that was the very first thing from Raw that made the jump into ESPN. So, I mean, that was a huge moment for Raw. So, chat, if you've got some you want to talk about, throw them out there. But I'd like to hear from you guys some of your big Raw moments.
The pipe bomb.
The pipe bomb changed the way we do promos nowadays.
Yes. We have the breakup of the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Mark Henry salmon jacket fake retirement.
Ah, the salmon jacket.
Now, if you're going to do a fake retirement, that's the way to do it.
I mean, yeah. Rick, how about
There
you?
was a lot of really good stuff in the early years. Second episode of Raw, Ric Flair lost Loser Leaves Town match to go back to WCW.
Mhm.
In the first 3 months of Raw, we had Intercontinental title change on live television. Summer of '93, Jim Cornette walks out unannounced to inform us that the Heavenly Bodies were facing the Steiner brothers at SummerSlam.
Mhm.
1, 2, 3 Kid and Bret Hart had like a 30-minute classic
Well,
on Raw.
the 1, 2, 3 Kid, the Kid beating
Him and Razor Ramon.
to
Yeah,
become the
him
1,
and
2,
Razor
3
Ramon.
Kid.
You know, I mean, Raw has been the flagship show almost the entire tenure that it's been, you know, in an active show. Only, really for about 3.5 years while SmackDown was on Fox. Other than that, everything major that happens in that company happens on Raw.
Very true.
So it's a huge show, and it's about to be opened up to an audience that I don't think anyone is truly anticipating how many people are going to be watching this.
Oh, absolutely.
And also because of the way that it's being done with the streaming and with Netflix, not all those people are going to be watching it live.
Right.
Some of those people are going to pop in a couple hours later. Some people are going to pop in the next day. I mean, this is good. So many more people are going to have access to this. And boy, are they starting it off with a bang.
We're gonna get to that in just a few minutes. I do have Eska 1981, Alex saying Jericho coming to Raw with the countdown. That right
Yes.
there is
That was a
huge
big one.
moment. And the reason that's a huge moment is not just because Jericho showed up and the countdown and the little bit of a countdown here, a little bit of a countdown there, but to me, you don't have the Wyatt QR code thing the way they did it without that.
That's true.
Like that's the precursor for that kind of segment.
Raw was the home of the original simulcast.
The original.
The night that they purchased WCW.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And
You
that was a
know?
huge one as well.
I mean, what about the night that Vince McMahon walked out on that stage and informed us that the new general manager of Raw was Eric Bischoff?
And see, Bischoff plays into this as well. That night was huge because those two people, that's like how after the Monday Night Wars, nobody would have put it out there that Bischoff and McMahon would be working together.
The hug.
Yeah, the hug.
Yeah,
but
the hug had, in my opinion, JR's greatest call, even better than "As God is my witness, he's broken in half." When they're hugging and Jerry Lawler says, "Look at JR, they're hugging each other." And JR goes, "They're probably picking each other's pockets."
well, and Bischoff caused some of the biggest moments on Raw.
Oh, yeah.
Bischoff spoiling the fact that Mankind, that goof Mankind, is going to win the title. And 60,000 people changed the channel. Because
600,000. 600,000
people changed the channel because they wanted to see Mick Foley win the title. And that
what about the night?
Changed the.
What about the night in February of '97 when ECW invaded Raw in the Manhattan Center? and half of the show was dedicated to ECW.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, dude, there's been so much big stuff.
The Rock. This is your life, Rock. That segment is the second most watched segment. I was corrected on this a couple days ago. The second
Yeah.
most watched segment in Raw history in 32 years. That is the second most watched segment.
Well, what was number one then?
Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe versus the Mean Street Posse. Look it
You're
up.
right.
Yep. With Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson coming out to Hogan's Real American theme.
Would you like to know my favorite Raw moment of all time?
Tell me, what is it?
Musical chairs.
Flair putting Stacy Keibler down. That was my favorite part of it.
The whole thing from start to finish. Every elimination was hilarious. Every character that was in that musical chairs played their part to a T. It couldn't have ended better in Canada with Jericho, beating Tyson Tomko to win musical chairs. But I mean, that thing was one of the funniest, coolest 15 minutes of television that had nothing to do with professional wrestling. It was so fun that I could go back and watch it over and over and over again. It's amazing.
Your favorite?
The friendship segment with Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho.
That's a good one too.
No, those two and their chemistry. Absolutely awesome. We've got Esther 1981 with the subscription. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. My favorite, there's so many to choose from, but my particular favorite Raw moment was the beginning of the McMahon Helmsley era. And it was more than one Raw. You had the Stephanie and Tess going to get married, and they showed the video and all of that. And she had the McMahon look at the end of it, looked like a damn lion. Hey, Joe. All the way into the change she goes through and accepts that she's, Triple H's. That was TV that had people that weren't even interested in wrestling going, what is going on here? And I thought it was really cool. So I really enjoyed that. But Raw has also, over the 32 years, had some really, really sad moments. The Eddie tribute. That one still gets me. The Owen Hart tribute. The Ric Flair retirement. Seeing Ric Flair up there with the rest of the Horsemen. I mean, and then it's had some moments that you just leave you going, what the hell just happened? I won't even give the full description. I'll just say Mark Henry in the hand.
Yeah, we're not going. Let's go ahead and let bygones be bygones with that whole deal right there, because that is a can of worms we really do not want to open.
Val Venus and getting, I don't even remember who it was, but getting with somebody's wife or sister, and
it was no, it was Yamaguchi-san's wife.
Yeah,
and it led to choppy pee pee.
Yeah.
Like,
there was some things, man, that you're like,
which actually led to a guest appearance on Raw from John Wayne Bobbitt.
That's true. That's very true. So
then they revealed that Val did not have his pee-pee chopped because the stump that they put it on was so cold he experienced shrinkage.
I love the fact that he can just.
The details. 90s were a great time. I need y'all to understand that, okay? We had a lot of fun in the 90s.
A lot of fun in the 2000s too.
Yeah.
Probably one of the worst had to have been Katie Vick.
No, we don't. I knew somebody somewhere was going to bring up Katie Vick.
Oh, Katie Vick.
You know what? Enough said. Katie Vick, worst segment ever. I agree. For those of you
Wow.
that are
That was
unfamiliar
so
with the
bad.
Katie Vick segment, that's what YouTube's for. Go look it up, and then you'll understand.
Make sure to have a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. But it Raw back in that era also gave way to some of the I don't know, some of the cooler stuff. The Godfather and the Hose, Right to Censor. I mean, that in itself, like
What about
watching Godfather turn from being the Godfather to being the good father.
the Dr. Shelby segments?
Oh God.
Watching Kane sit in therapy and encapsulate his entire 15-year story was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. It was so good.
Well, and then you have things that bring the human side to this crazy world of wrestling. Edge coming out and saying, I love what I do, but the doctor says I can't do it anymore, which was a lie. He came back. But he did have, I mean, it brings a human. Same thing with Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, whichever. Like these people come out and there's a connection that we as fans make with these entertainers, that when it turns real, when it's I can't do this anymore, then that's when they find out, how much the fans truly love them. So it's there. In 32 years, there have been some really, really cool things happen. That's the end of that era. Monday night, we start a new era. We start the Netflix era. And I'm going to run through this card real quick so we can talk about it. This is a PLE level card.
Yes.
You get Rhea versus Liv in a last woman standing match for the women's title. You get Solo versus Roman in Tribal Combat. You get Seth versus Punk as your main event, which is going to be, I didn't even talk about that on Raw. That was a masterclass. Seth and Punk, their promo at the end of Raw was a masterclass on how to do a promo.
Yep.
You get Drew and Jay. You get Dakota versus Lyra for the women's.
Actually going to be on number 2.
What is?
Dakota versus Lyra.
Yeah, Dakota versus Lyra for the women's IC title.
It's going to be on the second one.
I thought it was going to be on the 6th.
Nope.
Okay.
It's going to be on the second one.
I missed that one. My bad. We've got the confirmed return of John Cena. He's going to be there. We're going to have the debut of Penta, which I'm looking forward to. And maybe even so, maybe I'm just manifesting this and putting it out in the world. The return of the man, Becky Lynch.
She's in the commercial.
She is in the commercial. So this is PLE level stuff right here. I mean,
Yep.
a reminder to everybody: if you weren't on yet, or if you haven't heard yet, we will not be having a show next Thursday. Instead, we are going to have a watch along Monday night, starting at 7:00 of the very first Raw on Netflix. So we're going to talk about all of this stuff as it happens Monday night. Please make sure you're there. We'd love to have you on with us. Tell us what you're thinking, what you're seeing. So let's talk about this a little bit. Rhea versus Liv, last woman standing. What you got?
I believe Rhea is going to be walking out with the belt.
Okay. I
Yeah.
can go with that. Well, we're all in agreement on that. And I
Agreed.
think that this finally ends Rhea versus Liv. And
It
in my
does.
opinion, my humble opinion, I think this is where that possibility of the return of Becky Lynch comes in, because she's got some unfinished business with one Liv Morgan. So I think we move Rhea on to other things like, I don't know, Jade Cargill with the belt, and you get Liv and Becky. That's what I think happens here.
Okay.
We've got Solo versus Roman, Tribal Chief versus Tribal Chief in Tribal Combat for the Ulafala.
This is where we're going to see The Rock.
Amen. Rick?
I agree. I'm very hopeful that this pans out the way that you laid it out before. There's a little piece of me that feels like it's going to end in a nothing. Either way, I think that The Rock shows up for it. I personally would like for it to go down the way that you laid it out before. But I do think that it's going to be another major step in the Bloodline storyline.
And I agree with you. And I do the way I laid it, what he's talking about, the way I laid it out, I see Roman Reigns winning this match. And I think back to a time right after the new Bloodline started where Solo told Tama Tonga, if Roman beats me, I will acknowledge him as my tribal chief, and so will you. And I think back to that, and I just pictured in my head that Roman wins, Solo swallows his pride, walks over to hand the Ulafala over, and Jacob Fatu just destroys both of them. Cue the Rock's music. We find out he's been dance puppeting all along. He is the head of the table for the new bloodline. And now we have the Rock's bloodline versus the OG bloodline. I think that's where that's going to go. I know Mike had asked about that. Mike Petty had asked about that earlier in the show. So that's kind of where I see that going, Mike. We'll save that one for the next one for last. Drew versus Jay. A callback to when Jay first came back to Raw.
I'm guaranteeing that's probably going to be the match of the night, and they're going to it's going to upset some people.
Yeah, I could see that. Rick, what do you got?
I think it's going to be, I don't know if it'll be match of the night, but I definitely think it'll be a good match. I do think that Drew is going to win. I think he's going to win handily. And the reason he can win handily is because Jay is so over right now. It's not going to hurt Jay at all.
I am going to be the wild card here. No, and I'm not talking about the mask there. I'm just sorry, Jeb. I think Jay wins this match, and I'll tell you why. I think Jay wins this match and does so in a way that Drew's not expecting, a quick win, if you will. Now, not a roll up or anything, but something that Drew's not expecting. And as we have the tribal combat, which is going to be later in the show from that match, different people are going to come out and try to interfere and get blocked out. I think Jay comes out to interfere, and Drew, that's where Drew just destroys him.
Okay.
That's what I think is going to happen there. We've got the return of Cena. What do you think is going on with Cena? What do you think? How do you think Cena is going to affect this show?
Well, Cena's going to come out. He's going to do his promo. He's going to announce. He's going to be the first one that officially announces that he's going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I think we're all three in agreement. That's where I'm at on it. I think that he's coming out to declare for the Rumble.
Yep, I agree.
Eska says Cena versus Logan Paul. I mean, it's a possibility because Logan's he's in the commercial too. That is.
I think Logan Paul definitely shows up. I don't know what he does. He could have a segment. He could have the Cena segment. They absolutely could do that. I could see Cena declaring, and I could see Paul coming out to kind of piss all over that. I could also see them doing it in reverse with Logan coming out to declare for it and running his mouth, and then Cena's music hits and the place loses their mind.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and declares for it. And maybe we do a thing where they're number 1 and 2.
I could dig it. We get the debut of Penta. I'm going to start with this one because I'm so frustrated at what I think is going to happen. And I understand the reasoning for it. I'm just tired of it. The New Day has already challenged Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee. The New Day is going to do something to Dragon Lee. and they're going to be in the ring, and Ray's going to come to the ring, and it looks like it's going to be New Day versus Rey Mysterio, and that's when Penta's going to come out, because everybody that doesn't speak English and wears a mask has to start and debut with Rey Mysterio. Now,
That's absolutely possible.
I do think that as far as Raw goes, Netflix is the new shiny thing for Raw.
Mhm.
So I think you debut Penta and then move him to SmackDown and make him the new shiny thing for SmackDown and put him up against Andrade immediately.
Disagree. I say we get Penta and Rey Mysterio. They will be a tag team. It will not be a defeat of the New Day.
Okay.
And then after it will end up starting the program versus Penta El Zero Romero versus Rey Mysterio.
That's a possibility also. I can see it.
That's what I think. I think that he is going to end up debuting by making the save. I think it's going to be Dragon Lee and Ray versus the New Day, and I think something's going to happen in that match that leads to Penta having to make the save and runs New Day out. But then I think in the middle of the celebration, I think he attacks Rey Mysterio and we move to that feud. And I think that that's the WrestleMania match is Penta versus Rey Mysterio.
If you do Penta versus Rey Mysterio, then you have to do Penta versus the LWO. And then you get Legado involved, and then we're all the Spanish people are fighting each other. I don't like it. I could see
Legado
it
has nothing to do with
probably
Ray
gonna go
anymore.
that way, but I
Legado has nothing to do with Ray anymore. They're on different shows.
Legado has nothing to do with Ray. That they don't like Ray. Santos still doesn't like Ray. So,
But that doesn't have anything to do with Penta.
who better to move Penta? Who better to approach Penta than Legado? I just I don't like it.
It's better for Penta to run through the LWO and kill all of them on the way to facing Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania.
It's fair. We'll have to see what happens. Mike Petty saying, I can't wait till next Monday. Pentagon Jr. I'm looking forward to it myself. And we have one more match to talk about. That, of course, the main event, Seth versus Punk. This is what, 2 years in the making?
A little over a year.
A little over a year in the making. Oh, we lost video on Rick. I'm sure he'll be back here.
Because Punk debuted at the Survivor Series last year, or year before last. So that's November would be a year, so we're a little over.
Okay, so a little over a year in the making, Seth versus Punk. If you have seen their promo from Monday night, I think Bully Ray, Bubba Ray, whatever you want to call him, I think he put it best on his podcast that if that's the last thing I hear before they start punching each other in the face, I'm good with it, because it was that good. The animosity is that Rick said this the other day, and Rick kind of jumped out here. I'm not sure what happened there. See if we can get him back. But he said this the other day. The only thing missing was them calling each other Phil and Kobe. I mean, that's the only thing that was missing in that whole thing. So the animosity, the cell of the animosity is there. I hope that this goes on for a little while. I hope it, brings about Seth and Becky versus Punk and AJ Lee. Like, these are things I want to see.
I definitely want to see him too. I do not think that anything will be solved by the end of Raw with Seth versus Punk.
No. Rick coming up in the chat, his phone died. He had to plug it in. Oops. As someone who has done that recently, I get you. I understand.
Yeah, we did that on the last.
We did that on the You got to say everything you know.
5 Dale.
Well, it's easy to say that this is going to be a great Monday Night Raw, and I'm looking forward to, doing the watch along with you guys. Like, let's talk about it. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see where things go. We've got some pretty solid predictions going on, but that does bring us to 9:25. We got that last 5 minutes in, so as we always do, I'm going to turn it over to you, Mike. Anything you want to say to the people watching, the people listening, the wrestling world in general? The floor is yours.
It's cold.
It is.
Some might say it's cold as ice.
Indeed, it is.
Now, to say this, there are some children out there that are in our local schools that do not have coats. What we're going to do at BCW next Saturday is we are going to be taking up a collection from all of our fans to go and donate these things, these coats, to the local schools. This is very important, and this is near and dear to my heart because I knew I had a really good friend in junior high that did not own a coat, and his parents were not in a financial situation where they could get him a coat. So they're out there. There are people out there that are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
So let's pull together as a community and let's donate coats. And if you can't make it to BCW or anything else, get in touch with me, get in touch with Guapo. We can, if you have some sort of a donation that you can do, we will go out and get said coat and we will donate it in your name.
Absolutely. As the husband of a teacher, I've seen it myself. Kids, it's less than 20 degrees outside and kids showing up in, not even a hoodie. So I'm asking you, same as Mike, if you have a new coat, a gently used children's coat, if you want to donate it, we'd love to have you donate it at the show. There's some special things going on for coats that are donated at the show. We'll talk more about that Monday. But there is some special things for the coats being donated at the show. But if you can't make it to the show, if you want to donate a coat for a kid, get a hold of me on socials. You can find me at John Russell on Facebook, Not Your Average Mark on Facebook, however you want to find me. Like, get a hold of me, get a hold of Mike. We'll come to you. But let's get these kids some coats with this cold weather coming up. I think it's awesome that BCW is doing that. I can't put into words what it does for me when I see that, when I see a kid that's just cold. And I know it's not the kid's fault. It's not the parents' fault. Hard times happen. But this is our opportunity to help those people, help those kids. So if you have a coat, if you want to donate, please let us know. And again, we'd love for that donation to happen at the show because we got some special things happening with that. With that, that's going to bring us to 9:30. So I know he's not on the screen anymore, but Rick, thank you for joining us tonight. It is always a pleasure to have you on. Mike, always a good thing. Appreciate you being here. To everybody that's watching, to J-Rev, to Eska, to Mike Petty, to Daddy Boss 74, thank you guys. We enjoy you being here, interacting with us in the chat. Can't wait to do this on Monday. Can't wait to watch Raw on Netflix and talk about it with all you guys live. Until then, that was Rick Elzy.
Oh, he's still around.
Yeah, he's still around. He's just not on the screen. But he's Rick Elzy. That's Mike Caldwell. I'm your tutorial boss, Guapo, and we're not your average Mark. We'll see you on Monday. Yeah.
I'm gonna drink it all away and find my head rush. I'm gonna